guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian and I am the Horror Show host. And today is a special day on Horror Show host because we've had a whole week of shark movie reviews as well as on the Horror Show who are joining me now. They've done their own shark week of reviews. I'm totally botching this intro. But yeah, so say hello, guys. We have Cecil, Fuego, and Robert in the house.
Hello. Yes, thank you for having us, Brian. No after joining us for our Deep Blue Sea 2 and 3 review, which 2 aired today as we record this, and 3 airs tomorrow as we record this as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing those videos. I was kind of like, am I gonna do it all right? And then I messaged Cecil after. I was like, I hope I wasn't interrupting too much.
Nah, we're used to interruptions over here.
He looks at Fuego. Just kidding.
No, like Fuego and I looked at each other because we do it in equal measure.
Yeah. It's so tough to just like pick that little window of opportunity to interject, and so it doesn't always work out. But yeah, man, it was great getting to talk. 2, you still know kind of our thoughts about it, but 3, I'm glad we were in pretty much just complete agreement about how it was way better than anticipated, and I look forward to that interview, I should say, with the director you mentioned off camera. So
yeah, I have to send it to him through email, and then he's gonna approve it, and then I'll upload it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because you already recorded it, right?
Yeah, I've recorded and edited, and it actually just finished exporting, so that's really cool.
Nice.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good.
And it was originally an hour-long interview, but there was some stuff he wanted cut out, and I wanted cut out, so it's about 30 minutes.
No, that works. Yeah, all the strong stuff.
Yeah. So, we're here for a new episode of Horror Show Host and / The Horror Show. I specified in one of the other comments, similar name, different styles. So that's the foundation for this, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Yeah, because Brian's got his thing going on over on Horror Show Host, and over on the Horror Show channel, which is where we are. We do. We're basically a horror variety show, so anything and everything under the horror umbrella, from movie reviews to trailer reactions to celebrity interviews to con coverage to making our own shorts, both comedic and not. We actually are in the process of planning, now that we have a little bit of time due to COVID. We don't have to work on Dylan's New Nightmare, so I'm actually in the process of putting together our next big horror comedy short, which is a spoof on a very popular 70s and 80s TV show. So, yeah, lots going on over on the Horror Show right now, yeah.
Okay, keep it safeguarded.
No, I'm intrigued because I don't even know what he's talking about.
I do.
I always have something going on, so. But thank you for having us on your channel.
No, man,
no problem. You guys are a huge variety show, which is nice. So we're doing this episode. It's kind of like, as you described, just questions we're going to ask each other about shark movies. I think you called it the Shark Whisperer or something. I'm a little big on that.
Shark Whispering with Horror Show Host and Horror Show Channel, because we love shark movies. We love movies about creatures that are very eaty. And for those of you on Brian's channel that are seeing this, so I'm putting together this episode sort of behind the scenes, or in post-production.
Which I appreciate.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it saves me time.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know you're busy too. So if you want to see more stuff like this, we have more stuff like this over on our channel. But I just figured, since Brian's as into shark movies as he is, and we're as into shark movies as we are, let's just get together and have a little powwow and do some shark whispering and just talk about shark movies with each other. So.
The Shark Whisperer, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Still my South Park joke.
Any lover of South Park, obviously, man. I mean,
yeah, it's a great show. I only got like 5 questions, but I'm sure I'll come up with others as time goes on.
Oh, and we will as well, yeah.
We'll toss it back to your way, man.
But go ahead.
So, do you want me to ask the first one?
Sure, yeah. Why don't you lead us off?
As the host.
All right, so this is kind of a weird question, because not a lot of people know there were shark movies before Jaws. So have you seen any shark movies that predate Jaws? There's like, for example, like Deadly Jaws, Shark's Treasure, or even just simply called Shark with an exclamation point.
I have not. No, I won't lie.
I haven't seen. I haven't heard any of those.
The Testaments review.
I mean, right off the bat, he's trying to make us look like shit. All right, if that's how this is gonna go, Brian. I see. No, it's look.
I'm the jackass over here thinking Jaws is the one that solidified the horror shark.
Well, it absolutely
It did.
solidified.
Well,
yeah,
It just wasn't the first one.
Okay.
It's kind of like Halloween. Like there was Black Christmas, Psycho the Texas. That Halloween solidified it. Then I think Friday the 13th really amped it up because of the gore and stuff. But so with Jaws, it was 1975, but there have been shark films since the 30s, I believe.
Oh wow!
Damn.
Yeah, but they're not
Fear's
like the
been
same
there,
kind of
yeah.
film as Jaws, because if that was the case, then Jaws would be a ripoff. But
Yeah, there's often something that popularizes. I mean, even to chime in with like, okay, Ramiro popularized zombies, but there was stuff like White Zombie before that, and various others that had undead, stuff that was, going after people. So there's often something that breaks the proverbial bank, the camel's back, whatever it is. And being the first like summer blockbuster, yeah, it definitely sent stuff into the stratosphere and made people far more fearful of sharks. Hasn't Benchley even gone on to say he regrets writing it because of the stigma and the fact that so many more sharks were killed because of that film?
Yeah, he has indeed. Yes.
He's become an
Unfortunately,
activist.
it was a byproduct of him making one of the best movies of all time, or at least writing the basis for one of the best movies of all time, and that is that sharks were killed at an alarming rate immediately following. And yeah, he did feel bad and actually went into conservation.
Yeah. Activism
Before
and
he
stuff,
died
too.
as well. And so
But he still kept rating creature stuff like
Creature.
Beast and
Creature
And
was
White
about
Shark.
an amphibious white shark, or I'm sorry, White
Yeah.
Shark, which was made into Creature with Coach.
Yep.
yeah, that's right.
I get that confused, but yeah, no, I read White Shark in the
Nelson,
hardcover when it came out, and
Yeah,
it's basically about an amphibious Jaws.
I remember watching it.
mhm. Yeah, I read that maybe a few years ago, as well as Beast, and that was not as good as. I actually like the TV movie of Beast more than the book.
Yeah, Beast was cool.
Yeah, that was
Eventually
about
knows what he's doing with those
was it
seafaring things.
Was it an octopus or
A
was
giant
it
squid.
a squid?
Giant squid,
I knew it was one of the two, but that I remember watching as a kid.
Giant squid and baby,
Yeah.
much like Jaws.
Yeah,
3.
Architeuthis ducks, I think it was.
Yeah.
Architeuthis, that's right. But anyway, yeah, no. So none of us have seen those, Brian. What are they like? Have you seen them all three of those?
I've seen. I saw Shark when I was really little, but the other two I saw more recently.
No. Hang on, say it right. You saw Shark when you were little.
Yeah, Shark.
Exclamation
So the pre-Jaws shark movies are more like adventure movies where they're trying to find sunken treasure and there's sharks around. There was even some after Jaws that had Franco Nero in it, who played Django in those old movies, which is pretty cool. I think the first one I saw was Sharks' Treasure, which had a really cool scene. I actually did a vintage trailer reaction on my other channel a long time ago for it, and you should see my reaction. I was like, oh god, where they had this whale shark knock over their boat, and they had this huge prop fin knock over the boat.
Oh wow.
I'm not sure if that was pre-Jaws or after Jaws, but there were a lot of shark films like that in that vein before Jaws.
That's cool. And by the way, let me just take a brief sidestep to say your hat's bomb.
Oh, thank you.
That is awesome.
I noticed I was
I'm
like,
actually,
that's cool.
I'm actually giving one away. I bought another one so I could give it away in a contest after Shark Week is done.
Oh,
yeah.
well, I will happily accept. Thank you very much. So,
It's like, I already won.
all right, so I'm going to move on and say, so we all know some of the great shark movies of the past. Of course, we know there's Jaws. We know there's Deep Blue Sea. What I'm curious about, Brian, because you are actually, and I'll admit this because frankly, Fuego and I just maybe value our time more than you do. You know a lot more about shark movies than us because you sit through a lot more shark movies than us, and that includes the bad ones. So what my question is, because Fuego and I are hot off of our shark movie tier list ranking, which as you guys are watching this on the Horror Show channel just yesterday, our shark movie tier list ranking went up. So you can go and see where we rank them all on a tier list between S, A, B, C, D, and F. And there are a couple movies that are recent that I rank up there with Jaws. And I'm curious, what is your favorite shark movie that is recent that sticks out to you? as such a shark movie
How
connoisseur.
recent, though? Are we
Yeah,
well,
how
let's
recent,
say, let's
because
say past decade.
Past decade. There's so many shark movies, and they all, as you said, most of them are bad, but some of them do vary in quality. Can I give 2 answers? Would that be okay?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead. There's no rules here. There's no rules
All right,
here.
all right. So can I do? I'll do a low budget, my favorite low budget shark movie, and my favorite high budget.
Great way to do it.
Nice.
So with my favorite low budget one, I'd have to say, as of the past 10 years, or well, in this case 4, it'd probably be Damn Sharks. No one talks about that one, but it's a lot of fun. It's where sharks take human bodies, they like mangle them up, and then they put them inside a beaver dam and try to build the dam up with the body parts. It's hilarious.
What?
That
Wow.
sounds fun.
Okay.
It's actually really well written. There's a lot of characters, and I felt the acting and the characters was well balanced, and everything was it just flowed nicely.
Huh.
Fair enough.
So
Okay.
is it
Catchy title too.
Yeah. So is it a high kill count in that regard because of the fact that
I actually did a body count for it a while ago. I think it was 19.
Okay.
That's
Not
pretty-
bad.
not
Yeah.
bad.
And that's just the people. There are some shark deaths too. So
Nice. Okay. All right.
Goes both ways.
And then the other one.
high budget is probably be. I know I'm probably on Cecil's opinion with this one too. Is The Shallows.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Shallows is pretty good.
Yeah,
Like, I like
love
more-
that movie.
I liked 47 Meters Down and its sequel, and the Meg was okay, but I just think The Shallows was a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, as far as tension, setup, performance, all that stuff, and even though we only get a couple kills in that one, they're far more grisly for a PG-13 than I was personally anticipating. But then I could say the same for Shark Night, which, pushed the PG-13 to the limits in some ways, with arms getting chewed off and things of that nature. So
another one that's not really mentioned that's really good was Bait.
Yeah.
I know,
That's the
I know
one
you guys
that
have that one on there too.
Yes, I was when we did our tier list ranking, because I just rewatched that this morning, Brian, and I hadn't seen it since we reviewed it 3 or 4 years ago for like season 2 or 3 of the channel, and it was even better than I remembered it. The scene and the most impactful death for me isn't even somebody who is killed by a shark. It's the dude who was put in the suit of like pieces of the shopping carts, and he's got the tube, and I mean that's just good writing, man. And the shark deaths are gory, and all the acting is kind of hammy here and there. But yeah, good call, dude. I love Bait. It's in my top 5 probably in the last who
I'm gonna
knows.
have to check that one out.
It's
Top
dead.
5 period.
It's on Tubi, dude. It's
Is
free
it?
on Tubi.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna check
I
that
can
one
loan
out.
it to you. I have the movie.
Yeah.
No, it's top 5 period
Yeah.
of
They
shark
made-
movies.
They made a good call for not having the guy who drowned get eaten by the shark afterwards, because that would have ruined it, I feel.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, oh, he didn't get eaten by the shark. That's not cool. But now that I've seen it recently, it's like, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
emotional
no, they
impact of the sacrifice, man.
Indeed.
It resonates.
So, Robert, what's do you watch shark movies regularly like we do?
To a point and everything. More so, like, I'll throw them on if it's just like, all right, I want something kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Like, the most recent one I watched, I think maybe half of it was Werewolf versus Sharktopus.
Oh wow!
Oh
that
my
sci-fi?
god.
Whale
the
Wolf.
worst shark.
Whale-wolf.
Whale-wolf.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a whale
That's
that
probably
was
the worst
crossed-
Sharktopus movie. You chose the worst one.
Wait, there's more than 2?
Yes,
I thought there was
There's
just the
3.
2.
There's
Oh.
Sharktopus, Sharktopus versus Terracuda, and Sharktopus versus
Terracuda.
Whale-Wolf.
I forgot about Terracuda. Oh my
I
god.
Terracuda was actually pretty dope, I have to
Yeah,
say.
no, the werewolf
The
one, it
title
just
alone.
intrigued me and everything. I was like, all right, it's a whale spliced with a wolf. How the hell is this gonna happen?
I like how they kind of incorporated that it's orca, so they had to go by the moon. And it's like, that's just like a werewolf too. It's perfect.
That's fucking ridiculous.
You just made 2 points in one scenario, and it's perfect like that.
So, Fuego, if you have any questions that pop into mind, don't hesitate to shout out. But Brian, do you have another one you want to jump to?
Sure, but if Fuego's gonna ask another question, he has to go shark first.
Shark tooth. I'll do a little riff on Land Before Time there. No, but so the question I was going to ask before we jumped into more recent stuff that I didn't get the chance to was, after Jaws became such a big hit, I know there were so many copycats, so to speak, like Orca being one, but I know there was also, an Italian remake kind of rip-off
The Last
of
Shark or
sorts,
Great
and,
White.
And I haven't seen any of those. So as far as like right when the craze was first hitting the water, so to speak, as far as ones you would recommend, even if maybe they're not shark specific, but of like the aquatic terror sort of approach, because I know we had grizzly and other stuff like that was on land, but any mid to late 70s, when the craze was first hitting.
Yeah, Brian, you'd be better to answer this than us. So any
Oh,
others
yeah.
that are worth checking out?
Yeah, this was specifically for Brian. So
That was actually my next question, damn it.
Oh, man, dude, I'm stepping on your toes. I'm not trying to. I'm
I
sorry.
actually wrote that down when we first started this video. I was like, oh, I got another one. Lego took it.
Oh,
It's all right.
That's
sorry,
all right. Let's see. There are so many. It's like it boggles your mind at how many of these movies that were made, not just shark ripoffs of Jaws, but other creatures. One of the best ones, I think, as you said, was Orca. There's also Prophecy, the monster movie with like Katata and the man-bear pig, which is kind of a ripoff, but more of an environmental message kind of film.
Not to be confused with another movie called The Prophecy, which
with Christopher Walken.
No. It was like, but this one was with Monsanti, wasn't it?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Was he an Italian kind of guy?
Yeah.
He played in Judge Dredd.
Yes, Monsanti. He was the bad guy in Judge Dredd.
Yeah, that's what he says in that movie.
And then they had, I think Kevin Peter Hall played the Big Bear, which was, he played the Predator, I think. So I might be getting my facts mixed up, but that was pretty cool. Another one would be Dogs. Not Dogs, sorry. That one sucked. The Pack. That's a good one. It's not really a Jaws ripoff, but it's in the wake of Jaws. More of a cash-in.
Yeah.
That's a thing that people don't seem to realize, that not every movie that came after Jaws that had animals was a ripoff. There were a lot of cash-ins, which means like it didn't have any homages or blatant theft scenarios from Jaws. It just was an animal movie that came out around the same time.
Yeah.
The Pack was a good one because it involved the family and some locals trying to fend off a whole bunch of dogs and like a house. And I remember my favorite thing about the movie was the very last shot in the movie, and it was just perfect. I don't know if I want to spoil it, but it is an older movie, so I'll just say spoilers. If you guys want to know, I won't say it.
Go ahead.
For it. Yeah.
We're not going to watch this movie.
I vaguely recall what you're talking about too.
So there's this the whole pack is attacking the people, and the people are fighting back against the pack of dogs, and then they finally win. At the end, there's this one dog that was kind of iffy to join the pack. They convey their emotions with these dogs really well, and so he's stuck in a fence, and so the people go up to the fence and they try to get the dog out, and then the dog licks their hand, and then it freezes on him licking their hand. So it's like oh, they forgive each other now or something like that.
Okay.
It's weird, but it's interesting.
All right. Well, what was your next question then, Brian?
All right.
I think I just took it, didn't I? So I have one.
I have 4 more questions where that came.
Go for it.
Which do you prefer when it comes to shark movies? Serious, crazy, or both?
If there's enough budget behind it, I'll take serious. Because I mean, I would say that The Shallows would be serious, and I loved it. Crazy would be Deep Blue Sea, and I love that too. But it all depends on how well it's done. But I guess I would take serious over the other ones. If it's done right, serious. Robert, what about you?
I'm definitely there. I would prefer a little bit more of a serious tone, because at least I can get more into the characters and the scenario. If it's overly goofy and campy, I'm just gonna laugh at it. I'm not gonna really enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
No.
I still will contend both for the sheer fact that I would even say Deep Blue Sea blends both a little bit at times. In the back half of the movie, it gets more popcorn flick and whatnot, but I feel like you give your audience a little bit of like breathing room, like the whole peaks and valleys sort of situation. You let them think if there's a little bit of humorousness here and there, even if it's just one character cracking jokes. I mean, maybe Deep Rising is a bad example, as I was just thinking of it, but nonetheless, I mean, you can still have kills that have impact when there is still humor. But it has to be sprinkled throughout, as opposed to just really at the forefront of stuff. And I mean, that's where I hate to mention a movie like Shark Night again, but there was death in that movie, like the girl with the tattoo who got eaten by the what are they called, the little cookie whatever sharks and stuff. Yeah, cookie cutter sharks. I felt horrible for that girl, and the fact that they were filming it and laughing at her. That's a movie that relies on camp a lot, but yet still had scenes here and there where I was like, that I feel bad for this character. So I mean, it's all about the balance of the scripting, how it's obviously put together. So, but yes, I would actually say both, because I have always like have it more horror, like maybe 70-30, 60-40 horror at the forefront, but I love humor when it's sprinkled in, because it gives me that false sense of security that things are at least okay for a moment, and then hit me with something unexpected or brutal that changes the tone. So
shameless plug, my next review is Shark Night.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah.
Our review went up on Friday of that, technically.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but I'd never seen it, Brian, and so I was pleasantly surprised, actually, and the fact that it had some, what did I say, wrong turn kind of vibes to it.
Oh, yeah.
Really, I didn't see that coming at all, so hey.
Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, they didn't spoil it in the trailer, because when I was younger, I watched the trailer all the time before the movie came out, and then when they had that happen, I was like, wait a minute. This should turn into Wrong Turn with sharks.
Yeah, the guy sharpening his teeth like they were shark teeth at one point in the movie. It was amusing. I actually liked it. I didn't think I was going to. So yeah.
So then my question would be, let's bring it back to basics. So, what was the first experience with this shark subgenre? And I'll start with something that we covered in a separate video. But my first experience was Jaws 2. I walked in on my family, or my parents watching Jaws 2 in their bedroom at one point, and it was right when Chief Brody was hanging onto the electrical wire as the giant shark came up and chomped it and fried himself, and I was captivated from that point forward with giant eaty things like great white sharks and other sort of creatures. So that was my first experience. Robert, do you remember what the first one you watched was?
That was actually would have been the first Jaws.
Yeah,
it would have been the first Jaws. That just I don't remember. It was like maybe 6 or 7, I think, when I first watched it.
How did it affect you?
It definitely made me realize that I'm more of a land creature.
I still don't like
water
swimming,
is not my friend.
I mean, unless it's a pool or something like that. But even piranha 3.
Yeah, like I've gone shark fishing and shit like that.
Have you?
But I'm just like,
fishing,
I ain't going in the damn ocean though. Stay my happy ass on the boat.
Fuego?
You know, since I've given this answer a lot, and even recently to Sledgehammer Horror, I'm going to switch it up a little bit, because I actually, over the course of this week, remembered how I came to a scene from Jaws. So the scene from Jaws where the kid dies, I've said that over and over. That was my first bit of seeing Jaws, but it was in a National Geographic special that I had checked out from the library when I was first getting into sharks and dinosaurs, respectively. And that bit didn't actually come until later in this special. I remember distinctively how scared I was of sharks because of the fact that there's a scene in this like documentary that interspersed film footage from popular movies, and it was where there's a great white, it was either a great white or a bull shark, I can't remember which one, but it had been hooked and it was like tethered to the side of this boat, and it was either dying or dead already or whatever, but another shark, or maybe it was a couple other sharks, and this was real footage, came and started eating it, and the fact that sharks are cannibalistic creatures, and just realizing that and seeing this shark that this was really bloody for a 5-6 year old, whatever the hell I was. This was real stuff. I knew that the Jaws scene was fake, but it still messed me up because I thought I could have been that kid. But seeing the fact that sharks would eat each other, and the fact that they just had this on something I could check out as a kid at the library, I was like, holy God,
educational.
Sharks will eat each other? And it just made me even more scared of them. I was like, all bets are off, man. So yeah, I remember that just as distinctively from that same video that I checked out. So
what about for you, Brian?
Well, when I was 3 years old, I went over to my grandparents' house for, I don't know, a dinner or whatever, and my grandfather says, hey, want to watch a movie? I'm like, sure. And you put this movie on, all of a sudden I hear, dun. And I sat there the whole time. and to remind you, I was 3 years old, and I didn't ask him about it again until I was in my 20s. Like, how did I react to Jaws? Because I had forgotten, it was so long ago. He said, "Oh well, the only thing I can remember is you saying, 'Is he gonna die? Is that person gonna die?' Whenever someone came on screen."
Sure. All right. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Before I go to anything pop into your head, any question? Or is it, you want to go back to Brian?
You know, I was thinking of like just non-shark specific movie moments where a shark pops up, but I know that's a little bit tougher. For whatever reason, Brian, I was thinking of the bit in, I think it's Zombie, right? Where
I have
zombie
one.
is fighting.
Yeah, let's talk about best shark movies and or
best shark moment that's not a shark
movie.
movie, and everybody always talks about that Italian sequence. It was Argento, if I remember
Zombie
right.
2.
It was either Argento or Fulci. I'm trying to remember.
It's Fulci.
Fulci. Okay. But I feel like an asshole because those guys had a rivalry, and I get their movies confused sometimes. But yeah, that was a real shark, right, Brian?
It was dead, but it was a real shark.
Oh, okay. It's, nonetheless, yeah, and I'm sure animal conservationist groups just love them doing something like that. But it looked so good, man.
It was either dead or heavily tranked. I think it was
drugged, but yeah, you could be right that it was dead. I'm not sure, but
that actually brings me to another point. Back to my other question was that in those older shark movies that were before Jaws, they didn't have the money for animatronic sharks, so they killed sharks and rammed them into the cage. It was like, I was like, yo, you guys are treating those sharks wonderfully, aren't you?
Yeah, and you wonder why like shark fin soup was spiking in popularity in the 20th century and stuff like that, which is a bummer. But yeah.
Brian, do you have a favorite shark moment in a non-shark
before?
movie? I have one. And I hope you don't take it, but go ahead.
Ace Ventura.
Fucker! God damn it!
Oh man, that scene scared the crap out of me.
That's not Snowflake! That's not Snowflake!
Do not go in there. I was probably, I don't know. I was under 10 years old when I saw that scene. It was after Jaws. And it scared the crap out of me because I thought because when you're younger, you think what you're seeing on screen is a lot more effective and scary than what you're actually seeing sometimes. So when I saw that, I thought there was this huge shark that chomped down next to Ace Ventura. Then I watched the movie a few years later. I was like, "Is that stock footage?"
Is it? I need to rewatch it. I remember it being scary.
I can
chime
into that too, though, because I just rewatched Jaws: The Revenge, and I could have sworn when hand is ripped off, there's like tendons and entraily stuff and everything on Sean's hand, and I was like, oh, that's not as bad as I remember. I mean, really, the thing that stuck out to me in that is just the crying out to God, as Cecil reminded me about it. I just remembered the whole choir and him screaming for his life, but a few specifics, it's still a scene that resonates with me, and I feel like it's one of the absolute best in the whole series. I know that's a shark movie, so I veered off course, everybody, but sorry.
The only thing I didn't like about that scene is when you see the shark jump up, you can see the rope in his mouth from later in the movie, because they used a shot from later in the movie, and there's already blood in the water before he even bites him. When you watch it really closely, the flashes are showing blood in the water before he even gets him.
Bummer.
Do you have one, Robert?
I don't. The only one is just straight out of a shark movie.
The only other one I could think of was the sharks with freaking laser beams on their freaking heads.
Oh, yes.
And Austin Powers. I think it's the third one where he finally gets them.
Scotty damn.
So yeah, I like that. Yeah, because he took my fucking Ace Ventura answer. But anyway, so yeah, that's a good question though, Fuego.
Yeah,
good question.
I'm trying.
Brian, do you have another one?
Yeah. Which shark movie impacted you the least?
Oh, the least.
Deep Blue Sea 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I knew someone was going to answer that in this.
That's the worst one, so
But then again, I haven't watched, like, Shark and Saw,
Shark and Saw State Prison,
or whatever it is, and
yeah,
I haven't seen Land Shark, or House Shark. I think that was...
The ones I will never watch are the Wild Eye releasing shark movies. There's like Shark Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
There's Sharkenstein.
Yeah.
No, Ghost Shark isn't. That's sci-fi.
Oh really?
But Wild Eye releasing doesn't even make it to sci-fi.
Oh wow.
Now, did they ever do anything like Faces of Death or Traces of Death that showed real people getting attacked by sharks?
No, there's not enough footage of it.
Because
there is one.
I saw some fake footage on a Faces of Death when I was a kid at a party, but then it came out years later that a lot of those were staged.
Yeah.
A lot of those Faces of Death.
There's one where I saw this years ago. It looked real enough, where it was blurry-ish footage, but they had this research facility and they were jumping in the water to cool off from a long day of work, and then they have this aerial footage of a helicopter that was nearby, and the sharks. You can see blood in the water and the shark attacking her. It looks very real. I'm not sure if it's real or not, but if that's the case, it's probably one of the few, if only, documented video cases of a shark attack.
Yeah, I know I've seen one that's been on, like, I shouldn't have survived or something like that, where it was a lady that gets attacked and she actually got her leg ripped off by the great white. You can see it coming right at her, and then she ends up losing a leg. But
that reminds me of another one where the talk show host on a Discovery Channel's program, he was doing an episode with a guy, then a shark came by and took a chunk out of his leg.
His calf, yeah, big chunk, yeah.
Yeah, that was actually shown.
That was a bull shark.
I don't know if it was a bull shark.
Yeah, who are still responsible for the most attacks on humans.
Yeah, well, because they're the only ones that can go salt and freshwater. Yeah, so they can swim up rivers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My least impactful movie is probably any of the wildlife releasing shark movies.
Yeah.
They're so bad. Like, if there's a Sci-Fi Channel movie that's really bad, it's like, okay, it sucks, but there are usually at least one kill. Like in Ghost Shark, like Cecil mentioned, there's the scene where the group of the main characters get chased by these punk kids, and then Ghost Shark comes out and chews two of the kids in half, and they're like, I don't know, 8-year-old kids. So it's like, holy crap!
Anytime you kill kids in movies, man, I mean,
it's always impactful.
I mean, kids and like animals, right? Like dogs. I still remember in Bait when you think the little dog has been eaten and stuff, and she's like, "You're a murderer! You murdered a dog. That's worse than murdering a human."
So then my next question would be, what do you guys think attracts people to shark movies so much? Why do so many people like these? Why is there a weekly or an annual event called Shark Week where it's just that? Robert, go ahead.
It's partly to do because we still don't know a lot about them and everything, but also too, it's that primal fear of the ocean. Again, we don't know really diddly squat. That too, yeah. You're out of your element. But like also too though, like we don't know much about our ocean, and again, we don't know about sharks. So that the fear of the unknown is more of that enticement for these type of movies.
It's probably the same thing as people with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
like you have more people know about sharks than they would know, like common facts, than they would know about, let's say, piranha.
Yeah,
but. So it's such common knowledge that, and like sharks, like you say, great white, it's a household name, or bull shark or sand tiger. Everyone, well, usually people just say tiger shark, but still, most people know what a shark is. Not everyone knows what a barracuda is, or a certain type of dinosaur.
Yeah,
but isn't that because of the movies? I mean, isn't that because of Jaws?
Well, no, because this is shark hunting has been going on way before Jaws.
Yeah,
and I think it came to a point in the early 1900s that they started paying attention more to sharks, and because of the 1912 shark attacks.
Yeah,
and that's what really sparked the interest.
Which were bull sharks.
No one really cared. Yeah, really? Great whites are bulls. I don't know which.
They said it was bulls because it was freshwater. They were up the river.
Yeah, and then there's also another theory where they said there was two sharks, one great white and one that was in the ocean, and a bull shark that was in the river.
Oh, really?
And that was on the East Coast or West Coast? I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, because I remember specifically the notoriety of the red triangle off the west coast of, it's like Northern California, I think, and
that's because that's where great white sharks go to breed with the Farallon Islands.
And also there were so many different surfers and wakeboarders and stuff like that in that particular area.
And people had no idea that this could happen.
Yeah.
Like hundreds or thousands, maybe even millions of shark attacks went unreported before them because of that. And then when that happened, they started getting reported even more.
And they still contend, right, that most of those attacks, especially with surfers, boogie boarders, people on those sort of things, it's accidental. It's just because of the fact that a shark, with the vision looking upward, they think it's a seal or whatever, and they just go upward.
Yeah, there's a movie called not 1912, 12 Days of Terror.
Yeah.
Where they explained that, I'm trying to remember what exactly happened, but they Oh, they thought it was a torpedo at first, like a random torpedo sidetracked, or however you say it, and hit the person in the water. That's because they were so mangled. They were like, "Oh, couldn't have been a fish. It's just like fish are too small." And then they started getting more shark attacks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you have something that's over a ton that just goes right. Then,
That's why I think it was a great white and a bull, because a bull, I mean, I could ravage you, but getting mangled up to the capacity of a shark attack with a great white would be a lot worse than a bull, depending on how long it takes. The shark attacks are very quick in the ocean, so to get that much torn off you in such a short amount of time would have to be a bigger animal.
I just think the popularity comes from the fact that it's a very relatable and ever-present danger for anyone that's ever in the ocean.
Yeah.
And so it's automatically something that people are more drawn to. Plus, it does speak to the primal essence of the fear of getting eaten. And so you're trying to... It's like people trying to educate themselves about sharks, or people trying to control that part of destiny where you might get eaten. It's like, no, if I know about it, I can control it a little bit more. That kind
but they're
of thing,
unpredictable, so you don't.
No, I know, but that's like the ancient human thing,
but that's why I'm a land creature.
Yeah, well, fair enough, because you know.
I will
that's what I'm
fight a
saying.
bear. I don't care.
So yeah, Brian, you got another question?
Yeah. Let's see.
Can I interject real quick and just say that I think the fear is that if you're on land, it's easier to see what is around you as opposed to what is potentially below you, and especially like if you can,
especially as fast as those great whites go when they're charging you from below.
Being attacked by something you can't see and just the knowledge of it is, at least for me personally, far scarier than if I'm in the woods and I see a bear. Or it's like a bobcat, or some sort of large cat that is responsible for human attacks.
Dude,
like that.
in the very first Air Jaws special that was on Discovery Channel, they have a camera that they put out in a seal decoy behind the boat, trailing about 30 yards behind the boat to capture it coming up from below. And the reason they did this was to see how fast they approach from the point at which the shark becomes visible to the camera to the point at which it strikes. It was like 0.4 seconds. Like, it's literally like, the camera's just there, and all of a sudden it's like whoosh, like it's that fast from viewing the shark to being eaten. It's just like whoosh, that quick.
Well,
and you have no chance to react at all.
They have been on the earth as long as they have without really evolving very much more, because they reached their
giant cockroaches of the
predators and stuff, and they didn't really need to adapt too much more. I mean, granted, we've seen different species and things of that nature, but they've been around since even longer than certain species of dinosaurs. So it's crazy, man. But justified notoriety, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, I had another question, but I don't think it would work really well. It was, what's your favorite shark book, and which one would you like to see be made into a movie that hasn't already? But I don't know if you guys have all read a shark book. I know Cecil has.
Yeah, I've read a bunch. But...
Well, I've read Benchley, and I've read the original Meg. I was actually really disappointed by the original Meg film because of the fact that it was basically the equivalent of Crichton's original Jurassic Park in so many ways, and he asked me to read the book because the film was coming out, and I adored the book, and I didn't think they captured the tone in a lot of ways. I know they borrowed some aspects from the station in the ocean and some stuff from later books, but it just the brutality and the actual implementation of what seemed to me like genuine science. I'm not too well versed in all of that stuff, but it was a very well thought out, well plotted book with a simple yet, at least for me, very believable concept. And it was brutal at times. It was I don't know. There was a lot going on, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And aside from that, I've read a little bit of Benchley, but that's about it. And I guess those were creature stuff in comparison. And I think it was a Reader's Digest of Jaws that I read, so it was like a condensed, abridged version of it that I read as a kid. So I can't speak as much as I would like to. But Meg disappointed me, at least as a film adaptation.
Yeah, the series that I would really like to see be made into a movie that does have sharks, but not in the first one, or maybe not even the second one, but later on, is Chronos Rising. Very good books. Have you started reading those yet, Cecil?
I've tried to start it a couple times, and then every time there's something for the show that I have to read instead.
Right.
So, no, but I plan on it, and my mom, believe it or not, Brian, my mom borrowed all the books, and it's her favorite series. Yeah, it's her favorite series still. She still asks me, is the next one coming out this year? I'm like, actually, technically, according to his publishing history, it should be 2020. But because of Corona... Oh, it did? Wait.
Yeah, it says called Chronos Rising Kraken Volume 2 or 3? 3.
It came out this year already?
Yeah, and has an awesome cover, too.
Wait, when? Because my mom will go nuts for that. I checked a couple months ago.
I'll send you a link.
Holy shit, my mom is going to fucking freak. She seriously is like, she for a while was like, have you read it yet? She likes it better than... she likes it better than most of the books that she reads. She's like, it's such a good series. It's so entertaining. She loves it.
I'm actually planning on interviewing the author again on September.
Kraken Volume 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I sent it there.
Holy shit, you're not kidding. Is it in paperback too, or just Kindle?
Yeah, it's in paperback. It's,
I'm gonna order this for her. She's gonna be so excited. Legitimately so excited.
Those looked rather dense from what I saw.
That is a cool cover.
Yeah, they're about 500 pages or so.
Holy shit. No, yeah, and the way Brian talked about it too, between Brian and my mom, that's the thing. I don't want to just get in bits and chunks. I want to be able to go through it. So once I finish these fucking Hellraiser books I have left over,
the one thing I will say, I won't spoil anything, is that in one of the books, I will not tell you which one, the ending reminded me of the impact that The Empire Strikes Back had.
Really?
Huh.
It was that, oh my god, I cannot wait for the next book.
Oh, I just ordered it. My order has been placed, bro.
Years to see how
dude, you are the bearer of good news. Look at you.
I know, right?
Coming back into the horror show circle right when my mom needs you most.
Okay, I'm always the fan of a cliffhanger, just as long as I know I'm gonna get the just resolution and fulfillment, because I don't want them to "my name is Earl" that stuff, man, because that just pisses me off when you have a cliffhanger and then you don't get a sequel to a film or a show or whatever. And I know I veered off the horror track there, but nonetheless, man.
It's a cliffhanger that is reasonable. You're like, that makes sense. Well, I cannot wait for the next book, but I will wait for the next book because the series is that good.
Nice.
I just had that sent to me, and I'm gonna show my mom when I get that. I'm gonna take a picture and show it to her. She's gonna be like, "Oh my god!" I'm gonna have to drive it 2.5 hours to Flagstaff to give it to her. She's gonna be that excited about it. That's how good the series apparently is. So.
Yeah, I have them all right up there. There's there's 5 books. There's technically 6. There's the first, second, third, fourth, and then there's 2 prequels. They're short stories, but they're both in one paperback.
Diablo and the other one, right?
Yeah.
Apparently Diablo goes first, and then the other one goes after the first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I need
Which
to
they released it in the order it was published. And that was Plague and Diablo, but it's really Diablo and Plague in order.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I still can't thank you enough for sending them to me. I know I haven't gotten to them, so it might not seem like I appreciate it.
Oh, no, it's
believe
fine.
me or not, I'm saving them, because my mom doesn't speak that highly about much. She likes it so much more than the Meg series. It's I'm worried it's not going to live up to what you guys are saying. But if it is as good as you're saying, man, I can't wait to be able to spend time on it,
I'll put it in this way. When I first read the first book, I was, I think, I was maybe in my early 20s. And back then, it wasn't that long ago, but back then I wasn't a really fast reader like I am now. And I read that book in a week. And then I read the second one in a day.
Wow.
Which is over 500 pages.
I've done that.
It took me 18 hours.
I know from the first couple chapters, I'm like, this is good. And I stopped because I was like, I don't want to divide my attention, so I'm just going to stop until I can just focus on this book. Every vacation I take it with me. I'm like, if I get a chance to read, I'm going to read this fucking book. And every time I come back, having not had any opportunity to read.
I think that's why I remember the cover so much, because
you keep seeing me bring it on our trips,
when we've
on our horror show trips to cons and stuff. Yeah, I pull it out, I set it on the counter. I'm like, bam. When we get downtime, I'm going to read this bitch, and then we just never have downtime.
The one thing I'm worried about is because I'm reading the book again for the interview I'm doing with him, is that it won't be as good as the first time.
Oh, you already did an interview with Max, didn't you?
Yeah, but I'm gonna do another one because of the new book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I wanted
that's good stuff.
Yeah,
I need to finally sit down and do that.
You know, trying to think of new questions and freshness with follow-ups of people you've spoken with previously. It's happened at conventions with us a few times.
Well, I had to do it twice with Steve Alton.
With,
we did 2 interviews with Steve Alton. So
I was a part of one of them.
The second one,
yeah. The second one, yeah. Yeah, and I actually have to at least briefly thank Brian for sending me Stephen King short story. And I know I've thanked you for this before, man, but just shout out because there is an uncollected story in a little just random paperback that you sent, man, that is very hard to track down, mind you. I believe it's called Night of the Tiger, if I'm not mistaken. And
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and it's about this guy who works for a circus, and he's a trainer. It's almost got what were the 2 guys who one of them got attacked by the
Roy and Siegfried?
Siegfried and Roy. Yeah, it's like a very horror spin on that, but decades before anything of that nature transpired. And I mean, it's not one of King's best, but the fact that it's one of his most obscure, and the fact that Brian sent it to me and I didn't possess it, man.
It's so fucking cool. Like, that's what's neat.
Yeah.
You never know
the
kind of gold you can find.
Dude.
I still remember your reaction when Cecil was like, "Oh, we got a Stephen King book here for Cecil," and he showed you the cover, and you were like,
yeah, because that was on camera,
like,
huh? We did the unboxing on camera. You're like, this hasn't been collected before.
I was like, this is one of maybe a half dozen that has never been in any of his official releases. So, you know,
if you ever
putting it in the weird random anthologies from time to time.
If you ever get a chance, write it out and I'll read it. I don't want to take it back and then send it back out in case of like damage or anything. So if you ever get a chance to type it up, I'll read it.
It's solid, man. I mean, it's not going to blow your mind. I guess there's a reason with a lot of his uncollected stuff that it never was. But for a completist collector like myself, that's stuff you treasure to have. So thanks again.
No problem. I think the title and this premise you're telling me sounds really cool. That's why I'm like, if you type that out, I type the book out, I'll gladly read it because it sounds really cool.
Yeah,
and especially because it's weird. Off the topic of sharks for a second, there's a lot of tiger movies coming out lately and lions. Have you ever noticed that?
Tiger King.
But like there's Primal, there's Uncaged, there's one with Megan Fox coming out.
Uncaged is the one, dude, that looks really interesting. I think it's a Swedish movie, if I'm not mistaken, or at least definitely European. I watched a scene of it where the guy is injured and he's hiding out, and the girl is there, and you know, he's bleeding out, and the thing is trying to get through the door, and he's like, "Since I know I'm gonna die, can I ask you one thing?" And she's like, "Sure." And he's like, "Can I see your tits?" It's like really ridiculous, but it gave me the idea of what sort of film. And also the Megan Fox one looks interesting as well. It looks Ghost in the Darkness kind of a little bit, and I love Ghost in the Darkness. So.
Ghost in the Darkness is fantastic.
I saw that one when I was young too. That was scary.
Yeah,
especially when they had the scene where the dream sequence where he thinks,
oh my god,
no way.
Yeah, that was a trippy scene.
They did Michael Douglas dirty in that movie.
Oh yeah,
they really did. That was one thing that I wasn't the biggest fan of.
The off-screen kill was pretty lame.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've been going for almost an hour, Brian, and we still have some other recording to do. So why don't you pick your last question you want to ask regarding shark movies? And
I have a last question.
Okay, so Fuego and you can each get another question in.
Sure.
Fuego, why don't you go first then? We'll let the host ask the last question.
We'll let the host wrap it up. So I am terrified of the ocean, and I don't go swimming in it. But I know that even a lot of those hotspot beaches, whether it's South Africa, whether it's Australia, certain places in California, I'm not sure, but they set up nets and things like that. And there's voices caving. We talked so much, we reviewed, like 5 or 6 shark movies. Anyway, some people think those nets are bad because then there are more shark lives lost than human lives that could potentially even be injured. Bottom line, do you guys like going and swimming in potentially dangerous areas where these killer creatures? I personally don't.
I won't.
I'm curious about all of.
I don't care about the nets. I'm just not gonna test my luck.
I don't have a problem with sharks because the thing is that I'll say this: even if you're bleeding and you go in the ocean, the likelihood of a shark getting you is very low. And I actually found this out very recently: is that sharks don't attack everything that's bleeding because in the ocean they can smell blood for miles, and there are tons of things out there that are bleeding. So the likelihood of a shark coming to you because you're bleeding is very rare. But The thing I am afraid of going swimming with, and I never will, is crocodiles or even alligators, because they are.
And you get the saltwater crocs in Australia.
Super aggressive, or hippos.
Those are some of the most
Stay away
dangerous
from
waters
crocs
in
and
the
hippos.
world. I mean,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Australia, when I was doing my research as a little kid, between sea snakes, box jellyfish, great whites, saltwater crocs, I mean, those are some of the dangerous waters in the world. And yet there's so much that can kill you on land in Australia. It really is its own little insanely scary place, as beautiful as it is from what I've seen.
Yeah. What opened my mind to it, or opened my eyes, was I actually interviewed an author of a crocodile book from the 80s that was made into a movie called Dark Age. But he is also a crocodile preserve. He works with the crocodile preserve, like he wants to preserve these creatures. So I interviewed him, and it was a great interview, and he really taught me a lot about how dangerous these animals are, but they have to be protected. And there's one place that really, the story he told me really freaked me out, where there's this bridge in Australia. I forgot which one it was. There's a bug in here because of the light. It's driving me crazy. So, if you jump off that bridge, you will not make it to shore. The crocodiles will get you. And the reason why is because, even like sharks, if you feed a certain animal in abundance in one spot, it will learn your pattern, and it'll come back every day of every hour that you had been there feeding it. And that's the same thing if you're near the water and you're just brushing your teeth and you do it the same time every day, the crocodile will learn your routine.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You know, I mean, the inevitability, though, of if you go to a barber shop, you'll eventually get your hair cut. I think that they're still putting yourself in more dangerous situations than you would be if you were in different waters, different oceans, where there's like a lower possibility. But I'm just scared of the ocean, and even based on bull sharks, lakes, and rivers, and so I stick to pools, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like I said last time on the last episode we did, I went to the ocean a few days ago, and I went up to here, and it was fine. At first I was like, this is really cold. But and I was wary of what my surroundings. I was like, if I see any kind of weird splash that isn't normal, I will go back in. But even then, you're not 100% guaranteed to be safe. But I think you have to understand that sharks aren't out to get you. That's a hard thing to do because it's a fear that everyone has. And so you don't want to be in the water if you have a terrible fear, because if a shark or anything comes near you, you're going to panic, you're going to go crazy, and the sharks come right for you because they're attracted to splashing.
Right.
So the best thing to do is, if you see a shark, just remain calm.
If you can. The problem is, my heart would be going like a fucking dying fish, like, well, you're going to die! And I'll be like, shut up, heart! Shut up, heart!
And also, most attacks take place in shallow water anyway, right? So
yeah, waist-high water, yeah.
The one thing I want to have crossed off my bucket list before I die is to go on a tour boat, or any boat that would allow it, and have a great white come up to me and have me touch its nose so its mouth opens. That would be like a whole exhilarating experience.
So
that'd be amazing.
I wanted to do cage dives.
I was going to ask.
Years,
I mean, you just made me think of it. So you would cage dive?
Oh, 100%.
Oh my god.
Yeah, me too.
That's why I got open water certified, so I could. Dude, it would only cost me like $3,000 to do a whole trip to go down there. Fuego, come on, let's do it. Would you not get in the cage?
If we didn't get in the cage,
get in the cage. No, I absolutely will do it before I die. I will go in a cage with great whites before I die.
I'm just thinking.
How could you not want to?
I'm thinking of Jaws, man.
Their cages aren't built like that anymore.
Yeah, but just think, if you're Richard Dreyfuss from the movie, you'll survive. You won't die in the book.
Yeah, they say.
Sorry, Brian, go.
Oh, it's okay. When that video, what I found out about the sharks not being attracted to everything's blood, the part in Jaws where he swims down to the coral bed is factual. You should do that. If a shark or anything happens to your cage, or a shark breaks it or anything, and you can't get to the surface, the best thing to do is go straight down until it leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't generally hunt on the bottom, great whites especially.
No, that's what they do. That's how come you always see them jump out of the water with seals in their mouths, because they're always hunting from the bottom. They don't
hunt from the bottom, they hunt from below. But they don't generally go to the very bottom. Not shallow. They probably stay at the most halfway.
Yeah. They really stay low. but not all the way to the bottom, because then they don't. That would disprove the theory that sharks don't hunt on the coral bed.
Plus, sharks don't generally like scuba bubbles either.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little thing. That's why, as an open water diver, I don't mind being at the bottom, but getting to the bottom, you just feel like you're a fucking fishing lure.
I feel like if I did that, the worst experience for me would be the feeling of going back up, because you're like, I can't. When I get to the surface, I won't be able to look down and see if anything's chasing me.
Not only that, but you have to stop at 15 feet for your safety stop and just sit there for like 3 minutes and just hope you don't like look appetizing to anything for 3 minutes.
Well, and also trying to go up too quickly depending on how deep you are.
Well, that's why the safety stop.
You
do the safety stop to avoid the bends.
Okay, so
that's
the cage, but what about the chainmail with like a blue shark like coming and biting you and all that stuff?
I mean, if you plan on swimming with blue sharks, sure, get the chainmail.
Yeah.
If you're not planning on doing it, it's not going to do anything for you with a great white.
Yeah. Well,
it'll just bite through it. It'll sever your arm. You'll keep it. You'll keep your arm in your chainmail, but it'll still be severed.
You can put it back on.
What?
Put it back on.
Be like.
Yeah, well, I mean, you won't have to go swimming. You won't have to go find it. It'll still be there.
Scratch.
Yeah,
but it will be severed for sure.
Or the
one thing
where he's got both arms up the vending machines and they're like, all right, Homer, we're gonna have to cut your arms off, and he's like, but they'll grow back, right?
The one thing, if I ever dive to go scuba diving, I'll do it in clear water. Because if you go in murky water, you're not going to be able to see anything when you do that middle ascension.
And don't go sunrise or sunset. That's when they hunt.
Yeah, like every fish.
Yeah.
That's why you want to go fishing in the morning or at sunset.
Damn right.
So Brian, I have one more question that's going to be quick. But you want to do your question last, or you want to do my question last?
Wait, what was my question? Oh yeah, you can do your question last. Mine sucked.
Okay, all right. So then my question is, what is your favorite shark kill from any of these movies that you tend to like? Now, I do have some favorites, and so what I'm gonna recommend is, because there's so many, I'm gonna go runner up and best. Okay.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna give everyone two. I'm gonna give everyone two. I'm gonna do Fuego's honorable mention thing, because someone did something in a shark movie that I just watched this year that has been a fear of mine. Like a legitimate fear of mine for almost my whole life, and that came in Deep Blue Sea 3.
I knew you were going to say it.
Yes, when there's a character that dives off of a boat and dives directly into the mouth of a shark waiting for him that jumps up. He dives off a boat, the shark jumps out of the water, and he just dives directly into his mouth. That is a fear that I've had, where you dive off a boat and just dive directly down a great white shark's gullet. So you don't get pulverized, but you slowly digest and suffocate.
That's shit-ass luck.
Yeah, and that happened in Deep Blue Sea 3.
It's actually
I was like, oh shit! Someone finally did my fucking fear!
It's a really cool callback to the first Deep Blue Sea as well, as far as just the spontaneousness of the... It's the callback to
So that's the thing. Let's stick with one. I'll take that as my one. I'll take that as my one. I have an honorable... That would be an honorable mention compared to another, but I'll take that as my one, because I'm sure someone else will take the other. Robert, why don't you go?
I'm just going to quick throw, the Sam Jackson thing from the first Deep Blue Sea.
Okay, I knew someone would take that.
That's the one that really, just snapped right back into my mind and everything like that.
Because not only is it surprising when they take him, but then that shark takes him below, and another shark grabs him and rips him in half, and they each eat part of it.
Yeah, well, even with the ending scene and everything with the doctor lady and everything, like that was
just shreds her in half.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty cool little scene. Because again, honestly, when I was a kid, when I saw that, I was a little pissed that they killed her and everything. I'm just like,
well, Saffron Burrows is hot.
Why'd you do that? She was supposed to survive.
Originally, she was supposed to. They actually shot the ending, and then they changed it.
Damn, so you mentioned the two that I was going to potentially mention.
Oh, some bitch.
Oh,
yeah. I'm sorry.
Because I still remember...
Fuego the hell out of Fuego.
I still remember being in the theater, because I was trying to put two and two together as to the kill you were mentioning. I'm like, oh, the last doctor at the very end. Right?
So that surprised you?
Yeah, well, I still remember sitting in the theater, and I'd snuck in, by the way, because I wasn't old enough to go.
Because it looks at her for a minute first.
It looked at her for a minute, and I turned to my friend at the time, and I said, if this bitch lives, this movie is retarded. And I had been cheering and loving it the entire time, and then it fulfilled me, and swam in and grabbed
Yeah, because it had a nice little touch because like her foot twitched right at the very end before the other
right.
shark.
Oh no, that
came
was
in.
what was his name? The other guy got
Michael
ripped apart.
Rooker.
Oh, that's right.
Okay,
His
yeah.
right foot twitches.
Yes,
Was
yes,
it Michael
that's what it
Rappaport?
was.
Michael
I
Rappaport.
was saying Michael Rooker. Rappaport.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
You know, so blah, 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 man. You know?
Fuego, there's another one that you can say that's great.
There's many others.
Do you want me to say mine?
Go ahead, Brian, yeah.
Yeah, let me...
Quint's death.
Yeah, that's
Which
one. Quint.
Quint's
That's the
The
most
original.
painful shark death
From the first one.
I've ever seen.
No score, no musical score at all.
Just a
and
bunch of
just
screaming.
and the shark is just going and I'm just like
Yeah, he's fighting it out. Yeah, he's fighting it off with the machete as much as
he's
he
trying
can.
to kick off its nose and everything.
Yeah.
And then it just sinks its
He
teeth
slips
halfway
inside.
in.
And then you can see it chomping on his
No,
belly and
there's
everything.
another one that I know you like.
Do you see, I still keep veering to the bloody yellow raft. 'Cause
There's
of
one in the
shore,
shallows
and
that
it's
got
more
you.
it's more so reaction of the mother than
Okay.
anything else. You know,
Yeah, where she's just like, Alex?
Yeah, yeah, where
Alex?
she's-
Dude, the
where-
one in the shallows though, where the surfers were trying to help.
Yeah.
The one surfer, and then the shark literally does what we were saying, comes from below and literally breaches the surface, taking out one of the guys trying to help her.
I still even like
Whoa,
the guy
I love
getting,
that kill.
Like half of the Asian dude getting bit in bait is another
That's a
one
great
that I
one.
Really,
Where he's
really
hanging
like.
from
Yeah,
the
where he's
air
hanging,
vent.
trying to- where he's trying.
Yeah.
And after all, the spiders come
Crabs.
out, no less.
They're
crabs.
crabs.
Yeah, little
Okay.
crabs.
No crabs.
The one kill in the shallows that got me was the part where the drunken guy goes on the beach and he crawls out of the ocean. He's bitten in half.
Yeah. Dude,
That
the
was good.
shallows is bomb.
Yeah, if it's drunken people, it's the beginning of Jaws because that chicken just her where she's like losing breath and she's just like it's like just
In Jaws 2? Oh, that first one, yeah.
The very first kill at the beginning.
I
of
thought you were
Jaws,
talking about the girl in
where
Jaws 2. It's like.
No, the very beginning where she strips down to nothingness, and you do PG back in the day where they could kind of show at least a little bit of stuff, and she runs out there.
Yeah.
And it's also the epitome,
by a shark.
even though they hadn't had sex yet, but I mean the whole horror trope of if you're getting naked or having sex or whatever in a horror movie, you are most definitely you're fair game, you are bait, so to
Sex
speak.
get axed.
And yeah, when I finally got around to watching that film in its entirety when I was like 10 or 11, yeah, that one definitely. And it's not super gory either. It was just more so the reaction of the character if I'm going to do a non-gore kill. But
The book was way gorier in that scene. Like there's one part in that scene in the book where the shark literally jumps out of the water with her in its mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And actually in the book, she feels a tug and then she feels and her leg's gone.
Her leg is gone. Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
from reading it. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, Jesus.
Or similar with the
So
line
now
he
I
wrote.
wanna
It was
read the book
hilarious.
for
It was
those.
like it was a gaudy shower of gore. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love
So-
that. Right
so-
up my alley.
So have you guys ever eaten shark? Has anybody
No,
ever
shark
eaten
fin soup?
before?
No, never would.
I've had shark, but not shark fin.
Yeah,
soup.
I haven't had fin soup, but I've had shark before. I mean, it was all right. It tasted kind of like gator, surprisingly. I'm not sure what kind of shark it was.
Was
but-
it the equivalent of?
I think it was like a mud shark,
Oh God, what is?
Tastes like chicken.
No, what is?
Which gator also tastes like chicken, which is funny.
It
And I
kinda
think
does.
And I think it was at like a Papado, so it was like at a southern kind of restaurant.
What's baby lamb called?
Veal.
Chop.
Veal.
Veal.
Chop.
So would you eat
Lamb
the
chop.
equivalent? Which would be? You know what that would be?
Guppy.
Baby shark, dee dee
Oh,
dee
God.
dee, eating baby shark. Dee,
Okay,
dee, dee.
Fosters where they're like guppy. Yeah. Anyway, we're
Don't you
veering
love
in
me,
the
Robert?
we're
Don't
veering
you
in the
love me?
comedic territory.
All right, guys.
Amazon.
Brian, what do you think? You think that's a good place to cut this bad boy off?
Oh no, we could go for another hour. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you have one more, or you want to call it there?
We should call it here. I know you guys have been recording a lot, so it's all good.
And we
We'll
still
cut
have
it here.
more.
Well, thank you for having us on, man. I figured a bit of shark whispering with all of us would be appropriate.
Yeah, and just if you ever see a shark, just go.
right
like in
its
South
eye
Park.
or its nose.
No, like in South Park where he just grabs Cartman and goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
If only I had a stick where I could just like hit it over the head with
Dude,
a
if
stick
I
or
ever get in
something.
a shark's mouth, I'm going for them eyes. Like, gouge, gouge, gouge.
Yeah, you need a cross like LL Cool J had in Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
the
Yeah,
power
these
of
are
Christ
both
compels
options.
you.
I still believe, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm probably going to die from a shark attack. I don't care if it's going to be, I'll be in the middle of the country and a shark being transported by a plane will fall out and
It'd
eat
be
me.
It'll be when he goes on
sand
first
shark.
cage dive.
Sharknado style, yeah.
It'd be some fucking sand shark shit.
That's why I should wait until I'm 95 to go cage diving, because like,
Yeah, right.
there's gonna be a shark down there that's gonna be like, "I've been waiting, bitch."
Just like Stan's grandfather, where you're like, "I want to die, goddammit!"
If you don't think I have a Jaws the Revenge shark out there circling the coast waiting for me right now, I got another thing. You got another thing coming.
There's a lot of karma you put out into the world with all the shark coverage these past 2 weeks.
There's some shark out there going, I am just going to circle here. I don't know why, but I swear one day it's going to pay off.
If I ever get eaten by a shark, I hope it's head first, because then they'll be over quicker.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings me to one of the most feared deaths, which was the shark hunter in Jaws 3 that just gets pulverized in the mouth of the great white, because it just goes crunch, crunch, and you just hear him go ah as you hear the bones crunching and shit. I'm like, oh, that's the worst.
I still don't get how that worked. He was in his gums, not in his teeth. It's kind of funny.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't.
It's like all those gums have super
technically,
strength.
how are we hearing his cries when he's in a mask and underwater? But whatever, you know.
Yeah, then you see from the outside of the mouth, you see the blood coming out, seeping out. That was pretty cool. But we can end it here if you guys want.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you again for having us, Brian. And if you guys want more of Brian with us, he joined us for our reviews of Deep Blue Sea 2 and Deep Blue Sea 3, which are available along with our grand total of, I think, 11 shark movie reviews.
It's like 11 or 12 at the end.
11 and then the tier list rankings. So yeah, exactly.
I got like 20 something or so.
Up.
Yeah. You got to space those out, bro. You got to give your audience a chance to watch them all. But
I know. I was supposed to upload 2 today. Not yesterday, but I ended up uploading 2 today. I got 2 more to do, so it's gonna be a Shark Weekend a day or 2 days. I don't know.
There you go. Well, thank you again for having us, though, Brian. We appreciate it.
Pleasure, man.
My pleasure. So, as always, thank you all for watching, and I am Brian Gatto, the Horror Show host. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Also, check out the Horror Show. I'll leave a link to the channel in the description below. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon, where even $1 a month will get you access to body counts and other music videos that you can't get on YouTube because of copyright and age restriction. Also, hit that notification bell, and as always, subscribe.
You're
gonna say stay scared.
Stay scared.
Like, wait, is he doing our thing?
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on here?
Sorry, Brian. Subscribe.
There you go.
I did know that once upon a time. It's been a while.